Welcome to Mama's Playground. This is Darlene.
And this is Monica.
And today we are joined by Todd Sarner, licensed marriage and family therapist and the founder of Transformative Parenting.
Welcome, Todd. We're so happy to have you. Let us know.
Thank you.
Tell our listeners and us a little bit about yourself, about what you do and your program.
Yeah. Thank you, Monica. Thank you, Darlene. Happy to be here. I've been doing this stuff a long time, and kind of the organizing principle of my life when it comes to work is just let's help kids grow into their greatest potential. And like, how do we do that? Because that's what I went into psychology for. I thought I was going to be a child therapist. And I went to grad school, and I thought that's what I was going to do. Me and my brother and my sister all had to go see a therapist when our parents split up for a little bit, and I loved it. And I'm like, oh, I want to do that.
Really?
I was like 13, and I just thought it was really cool that my parents were having this, like, they didn't do divorce well. And so they're fighting a lot. And the court, I guess, was like, make sure these kids are okay. And I went and talked to this Dr. Diner was his name. He's no longer with us, but I just loved being able to go and talk about what was going on. But as I got older, as I went through grad school, and then the two important things that happened were I was mentored when my son was about a year old. I started a mentorship with Dr. Gordon Neufeld. He wrote the book, Hold On to Your Kids, Why Parents Need to Matter More Than Peers. And that, together with becoming a father myself, it just got into me that, hey, yeah, kids need help sometimes. Like in the situation we were in, hey, it was helpful. But for the most part, it's the moms and it's the dads, it's the parents that are supposed to be the answer to the child, not someone else, whenever possible. And so it just kind of changed me. Like, just as a dad, I was like, I don't want somebody else to have to help my kid with a problem for the most part. I want to be that person. Mm-hmm. So I kind of went in two different directions, two different things that I do. One, I do parent coaching. And so it's kind of this combination of coaching and education and problem solving. I call it a process where I work with people, usually a couple, sometimes single parents. And we go through 3 months of just learning and trying things and problem solving and correcting, because I just feel like that's how people change the best, is like a combination of not just information, but action and then coaching. And right? Does that make sense?
Yeah,
Yes.
and it's mostly with the parents, or are the children included? Just the
I do
parents.
not work with the kids. No,
Okay.
I hope the kids don't even know I exist.
Okay.
Sometimes kids actually, I don't know if you guys have ever noticed this, and it's not a big deal, but sometimes kids don't like it when they find out mommy or daddy is taking a class or going to somebody. I'm not saying it's the worst thing in the world, but sometimes
Yeah,
like,
it makes
why?
sense.
Why do you have to do, it's like,
It was
mommy
it
and
that I
daddy
do
just
something
need to learn
wrong.
stuff.
Yes.
But exactly, they think they did something wrong. And even if you think of yourself like, oh my gosh, I'm not doing this right, sometimes your kid, you're their parent, you're number one. They want to believe that you have it together.
We gotta pretend that we
most of
do.
us don't all the time. And then the other thing, but the other thing I do is marriage counseling, and I only do marriage counseling for parents. And it's all part of the same thing. Obviously, that what kids see in their parents' relationship influences them. Mom and dad being in a good place is part of good parenting.
Yeah.
And again, we all have imperfect relationships, but if mom and dad are fighting, or mom is feeling overwhelmed because she's carrying too much of the mental load, and dad's not feeling appreciated or like he gets enough attention. I know these are just random things that
Everybody goes through, though.
Yes.
everybody goes through.
Yeah.
That affects them, of course, and I care about the parents, but it also affects your ability to parent. It affects how much generosity you have inside, how much energy you have, right? And so in those two different ways, the parent coaching and in the marriage counseling, it's just all trying to get the family system in the best place it can be.
Yeah.
For the parents, but also so the kids
Especially,
can,
for the children.
yeah.
I think it all starts
Is that
with
a
the
good long,
parents.
good long answer to?
Yeah.
Yes. It starts with us, right? It starts with the parents and then
Yeah.
it trickles down to the kids.
Yeah, yeah, and that generosity idea is one that I remember hearing from Dr. Neufeld first when I was first an intern with him and for a couple years, and then I was on the faculty of his institute for a while, teaching others. But he said that parenting requires generosity, and you know, how do you feel if like your tank, you know, your tank of energy or feeling, whatever, it's in a good place. You had a good sleep. You're having a good day. You and your spouse are getting along. You know, if you're working, you had a good day at work, or you're feeling appreciated, and your kid has a little meltdown.
And then the kids come
Like-
home from school and everything.
Yeah, the kids come home and something goes on. Like, if you've had a good day and your tank is kind of full, like, you remember that thing the parenting guy says on the podcast and you try it and it works, versus like you had a bad night's sleep and you're tired and your tank is empty and you're kind of bickering with your spouse and work didn't go well today, and then your kid does the exact same thing.
Yeah.
You try to remember what the parenting guy said on the podcast and it doesn't go well. You know what I mean? And so that's like kind of the hidden secret, one of the hidden secrets sometimes. It's like taking care of yourself, making sure you put that metaphorical oxygen mask on first, and that you're making sure that you're okay and your relationships are okay and you have downtime. That becomes the secret ingredient sometimes for like implementing the things you're hearing or that you want to try. It just works better because you're in a better place.
I have a question for you.
Yeah.
So obviously this starts with the parents. What happens when you have two parents that have totally different styles of parenting? You know, and you now have this, you know, kid, and that's your dad is saying one thing, the mom is saying another, and they see this bickering back and forth between both parents that do not sometimes meet in the middle.
And
Oh,
then
yeah,
one
that's
becomes
like-
the good one and the other one that
Is the
becomes
bad.
the
Yeah, it's like
one.
good
Yes.
good cop, bad cop.
Oh gosh, you're explaining what I hear all day long. Yeah, that's real. So there's one thing about like how does it affect the child, which is what you're asking, I think, and then
Yeah.
there's what do we do about it, I think, which is, you know, really important. And again, like I said, my work is about helping the kids by helping the parents, but this is one of the main ways. I'm trying to get them on the same page. Because to answer your initial question, I think of it as like a compass, you know? Like if you think of a compass, and if people are watching, I'm just like simulating like a compass point, you know, with my hand. Like if you think of a compass point, children need a good compass point. And so that means either like in our household, when my son was little, his mom and I would just talk about I don't know if you ever saw the movie or read the book, Lord of the Flies,
Yeah.
but they had a thing, which is a whole nother thing to unpack. But whoever wanted to speak had the conch, had the shell, right? And so we used to say, who has the conch? I have it. Okay, I got it. And in that way, I would take the lead more, or she would take the lead more. And it was the idea that you be the compass point. Because if there's not a strong compass point, kids' compass, their point is going like this, and they don't know who to listen to. Do you know what I mean?
Absolutely.
It's confusing, it's overwhelming, and then the kid doesn't do what you want them to do, and it's not their fault because they're not sure what we're supposed to do. Because mommy's saying, put on my jacket, and daddy's saying, come here and grab this thing, right? And so that's the effect it has on a kid. And none of this is to make you feel bad, because everybody out there is going, I did that yesterday. We did that 5 times this week, right? The idea is to help you understand it, because otherwise you blame your kid, you blame yourself, and that doesn't help, right? So let's understand it. Kids need a strong compass point. So sometimes that means you and your partner just decide, you be in charge right now, and I'll be in the background doing this, you be in charge. But ideally, you and your partner come to be together and in the same place. So you're one compass point for your children, right? Now, that doesn't mean you don't have differences of opinions. That doesn't mean that, like, you might not need to go, hey, earlier I did not agree with that. We need to, like, figure this out together. But don't do that in front of the kids.
Yeah, one of them
because
has to step down and be like, you know what, you take the lead. Yeah.
Yes, not only are you going to have to come talk to me, kidding, somebody like me about marriage counseling, because that's half the fights I look at with people. But it's your kid's not going to do what you want them to do either. So the thing that you do is well, let me explain it this way. And again, sometimes I'm not answering the question directly, but it's not because I don't want to answer it. It's because I think the way that we frame the questions sometimes doesn't lead to the right answer. And let me just explain. And you didn't ask anything wrong, Monica. It's just what happens, I think, here's the most common thing I see with couples, and tell me if this resonates, is they're polarizing, we call it. And people talk about that with politics all the time. But they're polarizing. Usually one parent is saying, hey, we're having these problems. The kids need more connection. They need more of our quality time. We're too busy. We're on our phones. You're coming home from work, and this is right. They need more of us. And then that's often mom, but it's not always mom, but it's often mom. And then the other parent, often dad, not always dad, is saying they need more rules. They need more discipline. They need more boundaries, right?
Stability,
and the
schedule.
Thing is, they're both right. But it's a matter of how we organize it, what we prioritize, and how we do it. And so by that I mean connection comes first, period. I call the parenting I do attachment first. Okay? So it's attachment first and alpha-led parenting. So what that means is we're in charge. We're big mama bears. We're big papa bears, okay? And we know that if somebody doesn't feel connected to you, they're not going to listen to you. That's true of adults. It's true of kids. And it's important for kids because they're not supposed to listen to somebody that they don't feel connected to. It's what keeps them safe. And so we first have to, like all cultures around the world, in America, there's beautiful things about how we don't have the oppressive culture things of some places we came from. But most places around the world always take time to look in your eyes first and connect first and say, how are you? Comment ça va? Like in French, or bien, and
I agree.
We take a few moments, right? And we're supposed to do that with our kids. We're supposed to do that with our spouse. If you come home and you just start telling your spouse what to do, how does that go?
Bad.
Not well, right? And so
good lessons, my friends. Good lessons right here.
The first parent who was saying she's right or he's right. We do need to make sure that we get connected first, that we maintain a sense of community. In a lot of Latin cultures, I won't pronounce it right, but it's familismo, something like this. It's like the idea of family loyalty, and family culture that I've heard before. But we lean on attachment first. But then kids do need to learn cause and effect. Like you're yelling in the car, I have to pull it over, and that means that we aren't going to have as much time at the park. That is not a punishment any more than giving you dessert when you didn't have dinner. Like that's not a punishment if I don't give you dessert. You didn't have dinner. You know what I mean? And we don't yell it. We don't threaten we're going to yell, pull over this car right now, and I'm going to take away the birthday party on Saturday. Kids do need to know if this happens, this happens. If this doesn't, this doesn't. But we have to do it calmly and respectfully. And kids sometimes need limits. They need us to say no when they're pushing and prodding and things. That's not punishment. That's not being a dictator. They just need, when they're feeling yucky inside and they're bugging you for a cookie for dinner, you have to say no. But you have to be also kind. No, I love you, but no.
Okay,
So
quick
I know
question
I'm
in
giving
that.
you a lot there, but I'm giving you the overview. And when one of them's saying this and one's saying that, they tend to get more extreme about their position. I just wanted to make sure I phrased
Yeah.
that.
So, what do we do when we've said no in a loving and beautiful and nice way 5, 6 times? Or we say, go do this or put this away. It gets to a point that it's, we yell, we scream, we get frustrated, and then we feel bad. And then, oh, I'm so sorry that I did that I raised my voice. But at the same time, how do we work in those situations as parents when it's
that's sometimes that's life. But again, what I want to try to offer is, I think a lot of parenting experts and gurus and things out there, and there's a lot of great ones. I love Dr. Becky. I love Dr. Neufeld, my mentor, Daniel Siegel, Patty Whiffler, and Hand in Hand Parenting. There's so many great people out there. But a lot of people just go, here's the quick solution for that situation, Darlene, and this is what you do, and then it doesn't work, and then you feel worse about yourself. So I'm going to answer your question, but I think if you build a culture in your home, and this is just the overview part again, where we put attachment first, we make sure that we connect with our kids first, we make sure that we help them feel connected when they're apart from us, we build an environment where we have structure and we kind of know what we're going to do when, and we kind of are teaching consequences day to day, not as a punishment. I'm just teaching you when this happens, this happens. And then when I set limits with you the right way, where I'm firm and clear and consistent, but I also have a little bit of empathy. I know, honey, you're really mad at me right now, but no, you're not getting it, and I'm not changing my mind. But you're really clear and you're really firm, but you also have that little bit of compassion so they know you're not just trying to be a jerk. I find when you focus on that as the big picture and you're doing all of that, that situation doesn't happen as much. But when that situation happens, I'm just saying this out of full compassion. I've had over 2,000 parents. I'm clients. And that doesn't even count webinars and classes and all these other things. And parenting talks at schools. I'm a parent. I've had a hard time with some of this, okay? I didn't like saying no to my kid at first. I just thought it was mean, okay? But I'm telling you, I've never met parents that were setting limits properly, or that as a parenting team, they were setting limits properly. And so if that makes sense, Darlene, I would focus on, are you and your husband, are you and your partner, people out there, are you doing it the way I'm saying? And if one of you is and one of you isn't, that creates that compass problem again. And so I would focus on that. Does that make sense?
Absolutely. I'm going to practice today. I'm going to start practicing because I agree. I agree. And in our case, I'm the one that probably loses more control. My husband is more, just as you said, how do you feel? I understand, but he's better at that. So I'm going to work on it.
I've had
work on it, but it's also, look, it's just usually we didn't have a great model for it ourselves. I know I didn't. And we sometimes are doing one or the other, we're being really mean or we're being really kind. Very few people that I've met, and again, I'm working with CEOs sometimes. I'm working with celebrities. I'm working with managers of big law firms and things a lot of the time. And they in the courtroom, man or woman, are in there kicking butt and taking names. And then at home, they're swinging back and forth between, I just want to be really, really nice. I want to be really, really nice. I'm going to be mean because nice didn't work, right? And that's what people do. And if you understand, I had to learn this. Sometimes I say I spent hundreds of thousands of dollars just to learn these things by going to grad school and all that stuff, right? 10 years of training and school and all this stuff. Just to learn as a person and to learn as a dad how to do these things. But guys, this is how we do marriage too. If you need to speak to your husband, you need to speak to your wife about something very hard, it's the same kind of formula. Say what you need to say. Say it simply. Say it consistently. Say it in a way that you're not pointing the finger of blame, because that's just going to keep you going. Say, hey, I'm really mad at you. You did this thing and it made me feel this way, but I love you and I know we're going to get through this. I just need you to know that this doesn't feel good and we can't do this, but I love you and I understand that you're human and I am too, but don't do this. You get it? That balance?
Todd.
And now use your own voice, use your own personality. Don't try to pretend you're Todd or Darlene or Monica or somebody you heard on the radio, because then you end up sounding fake with your partner. Look inside you and say, hey, am I doing that? Or am I yelling and screaming and blaming, right? And again, in couples counseling, it's one of the main things I'm teaching people for months. Have you noticed that when you say, honey, that really hurts my feelings and I love you and I really want to be talked to in a loving way by you and I want to talk to you in a loving way? Do you know how often that goes poorly? Very, very little. Sometimes if you've been doing it the wrong way for a while, the other one's programmed to that and they're not going to be hearing it at first. But if you stick with that, people generally are like, oh, craps, honey, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to talk to you that way. Where if you go, when you did that, you totally were trying to control me and you were trying to make me feel bad and you didn't, right? And now all the other person is doing is going, that's not true. I wasn't trying to make you feel bad. It was an accident. I didn't know what I was doing. I wasn't being thoughtful, but I wasn't doing it on, right? And then they're just going to argue with you. So I know I went into more the adult relationship thing in a way, but I'm just trying to fill it out. That's what boundaries look like. Boundaries and good communication are, I'm going to tell you the truth. I'm going to say it directly. I'm not going to read you the riot act about like 100 things that is... Do you know, child, what that's going to do in life if you keep trying to do this and you're not going to ever have a job and your kid's 4 going like, what are you talking about?
I just want to
say
snack.
it directly. Hey, that's not how we talk to each other.
I have a thought,
mistakes,
Todd,
right?
that you're saying this because I'm obviously listening to everything that you're saying. And don't you think, you do couples counseling. And lots of times what I've realized in my own, relationship is that lots of times it's a problem within us, right? Maybe it was the way that we were raised or what we saw in our own household. And I've even had this discussion with my husband. Sometimes I tell him, I think, we need to do separate counseling. Like you need to work on yourself and work on these like issues maybe that you don't see that you have, and vice versa. I have things too, we all do. Nobody here, is perfect. But sometimes I feel like if we don't work on ourselves first, then we try to get into the couples counseling and we still have these issues lingering. Like, for instance, I'll give you an example. In my own relationship, my husband has a hard time me telling him, hey, I don't like how you did this, or this was wrong, and he says to me that it's my tone of voice, right? That irritates him or that, makes him spiral. And I see sometimes a pattern of maybe ego, like the ego comes into play and he just doesn't want to admit certain things sometimes,
Sure.
So I feel like maybe, it's like we have to work on ourselves and then we work on each other and then we work as a family. It's kind of, there's so many layers to it.
Totally. And I had to write down a couple notes to keep track in my head of all the good points, like the things I wanted to say. Yes, we all should work on ourselves. And I think it's like a combination. When we're in a good partnership, what I would like to think is that we're both trying to identify things in ourselves that we need to work on, that being perfect is impossible. And in fact, I just kind of think people above my pay grade talk about meaning of life and what's our purpose and thing. I kind of guess in my old age, and my hopefully a little bit of wisdom from doing this for a while, but also being a human for a while, is that maybe part of the point of being a human being is identifying the places where we're not complete, where we could be better, where we could be more fully ourselves, and then work on those things. It's just a matter for me, Monica, of like, how How do we get there? And it tends to be that if you're pointing the finger at a partner, which I'm sure you've never done.
Oh, never,
But
never.
No.
if you're pointing the finger at a partner, it tends to, in every human being, no matter who they are, again, master's degree in counseling psychology here, 30 years of experience in trainings and working with some of the, and if you point the finger at me, my first instinct is to defend myself.
Yeah.
Now, I try not to. I try to be aware, but it's how do we communicate that's more effective? Not BSing, not fake, but how do we communicate that's more effective? So when I'm working with a couple, most of the time I'm saying, hey, try to work on your part. And if you're working on your part and your partner's working on their part, and I'm here temporarily as a referee to kind of be the person who will call you out a little bit on something and take that away from your partner having to do it, and I'll do it in a better way. I'll do it in a way you can hear because I'm not your wife. I'm not your husband. Let me do that for a little bit, okay? But one of the things that is inspired by what you were saying is Stan Tatkin, who's one of the best couples counselors in the world, I think. He wrote a book called Wired for Love. I was lucky enough to learn from him for 5 or 6 years. I was in one of his first training groups for couples therapy. He talked about conflict versus deficit. And he said, just to use your example, Monica, if you looked at your husband as, and sorry, husband, we're talking about you. If you looked at him and you thought he was not doing something on purpose because he didn't want to, like he just woke up going, I'm not going to do that thing Monica needs, then you would kind of naturally feel antagonistic with him and that you might want to,
Pick a
clash about
fight.
it. Mm-hmm. And guys, we're also here obviously talking about parenting. That's the same with your kid. Almost everything with your kid is they don't know how to yet, for real. If kids knew how to do something, they would probably do it. If they felt connected and they knew how to do it, they would probably do it. Okay? We can unpack that more. But if you looked at your husband and thought, hey, this is just something he didn't learn, it's something that somebody didn't do for him, which is all of us. You have them, I have them, okay? I often use the example of what if you were little and your mom was a total germaphobe, or she had some emotional issues, or she was an alcoholic or something, and she was preoccupied, and when you were sick, she just left you alone in your room because she didn't know what to do or because she was afraid of germs. You might grow up and you're married and your husband gets sick, and when he's sick, you just leave him alone in his room. You just think that's normal. But your husband's sitting there going why the hell are you not coming in and taking care of me like my mom did? Not that you're his mom, but because that's how he's used to care, right? That's the deficit idea. And if you just understand that your kid doesn't know how to do something, that you don't know how to do things, that your husband doesn't know how to do things, that doesn't make him wrong or bad or any less of a husband. It just means that's one of the things he needs your help seeing, right? And so that goes back to the communication that I was saying before. And the communication, again, as a reminder being, hey, I understand you don't know how to do this, or it's not natural to you. I understand I've made you feel bad about it sometimes because I was taking it personally, but I love you. You love me. Let's get past this. I just need you to learn this. I need you to be there for me, and I want to be there for you, right? Again, do you know how often I see that go badly in couples therapy? 0 times. 0 times. And there's no BSing about that. I'm trying not to curse. There's no BSing about that.
You can totally do it.
Thank you. I never.
Oh my God, yes.
There's no bullshit in that.
Yeah.
And sometimes people will hear therapy talk. I was just watching the show 4 Seasons on Netflix with my fiance last night. And the joke is Tina Fey and her husband Will Forte have been going to therapy. So they go, okay, I need you right now. And they do this little exercise, right? And you laugh at it a little bit. It's not that, guys. It's just this is how we are wired to communicate and to listen. So I know that's a really big answer, A
No,
long
but
answer,
makes a total sense.
But what about because you're
but
saying,
using,
oh,
I'm
sorry.
one more
Yeah.
thing, Darlene. I'm sorry, but using we language is often very good. I want us to be this way. I want, instead of going, I want you to be different. It's, I want us to talk to each other that way. I just thought that was a good little nugget to throw in there, the practical thing.
That makes sense.
Sorry, Darlene.
Yeah, no, what if you say they don't do something because they don't know how to do it? What if they refuse to do it because they're just being lazy, or they're just,
Well, that's a hypothetical, and
Yeah.
I'm not going to say that couldn't happen. I'm just trying to lend you my experience, right? You guys are good at what you do, and you have your life experience. I have my life experience, and not most of us don't talk to 5 or 6 couples a day. And so I'm not trying to say that in a arrogant way, right? I'm
Oh, no,
special.
no,
I
no.
know.
No.
It's just
Yes,
more
you
like
are.
I'm just trying to lend to you as a human being. Guess what I see 5 or 6 times a day? What I see 5 or 6 times a day is it goes well. And like I said, to be honest earlier, it sometimes doesn't go well at first. You have to persist in it because we get muscle memory. Somebody totally misquoted me the other day in an article. I was not a criticism of her, but she interviewed me for a big women's website thing about manhandling. I forget what it was called, but like having to explain to our husbands how they're not doing something right. And I said something that she quoted as, change takes 9 months. No matter what I tell you, it's going to take 9 months. And that's not what I said, right? But I am here to be real with you and say, if you tried to implement some of these methods and these ways of communicating, like you said, that you're going to, Darlene, please don't expect the first time, the second time, the first week that it totally lands, because it's like we get into these, what Sue Johnson, another famous couples counselor that I learned from and trained with, she passed away a couple years ago. She calls it negative cycles. That because our partner or our kid is not doing something and we're taking it personally, we get mean to them. Then they respond to that. And then I respond to their response. And then they, right? And we create these cycles of communicating with each other that by the time people come into couples counseling, they're deep. They're deep in it. They've walked into this dark forest for a couple years, maybe sometimes, or longer. And so please know that to walk out of that forest just takes a little bit of time. Don't think like, because that's the first phase. Somebody learns these things and then they go try them, and their husband's first response is not awesome, right? And then they go, that guy Todd was wrong. It's not that. It's just your husband in this case, and I know there's a husband in the room.
Yes.
Your husband in some cases is just really used to what you've been doing, not what you are doing. And your kid, when you tried to implement connecting first and getting down at their level and setting limits in a new way, they're not used to it. They're used to, mommy tries this at first and then she gets mad. So he's waiting for you to get mad, right?
Yes.
Or your husband's waiting for you to get mad since I'm talking to you, right? And so just persist in it and do it because it's the right thing to do. And do it because what you're doing now isn't working. And do it because if you don't have a better idea, just try this, right? So anyway.
So what do you recommend for parents to do in moments of stress and chaos to be able to get to that moment of connecting with their children?
Chardonnay.
Bottles of wine.
Check. We got that code.
I'm kind of kidding, but I live out here in wine country in Northern California. I live in Sonoma County, and so we have our Pinot and our Chardonnay here, and across over the hill in Napa, they have their Cab and their Chardonnay and stuff.
I got thirsty.
Been hearing out here in California, they're talking about. I don't know if you've heard of this yet. They're going to take alcohol out of wine and put THC in it.
Oh.
And so mommy's Chardonnay is going to be a whole other thing.
Spike.
I'm just kidding a little bit, but I might annoy a little bit and make sure I'm answering your question, Darlene. I believe that most of parenting, 90% or more of it, is supposed to be what you do to avoid that moment in the first place. Okay? Like even the word, this is quoted a lot, I've found, but the word discipline has the same root word in Latin as disciple. It's discipline is not supposed to be what you do when the shit's hitting the fan to make it stop. Discipline's not supposed to be what you do when your kid's doing something you don't like to make them stop. Discipline is more, we're rested. We have structure to our day. We're connecting with each other first. I'm teaching cause and effect. When a kid is getting frustrated, I set limits in the way that we're talking about. And that if that's the culture I'm building out, then that situation doesn't happen as much. But you can be more specific in your question. Sometimes mommy needs a timeout. Okay?
Yeah.
Sometimes we just need to like collect ourselves. Okay? But in the moment, the thing that you're trying to do is not cause more damage. Okay? It's in the moment you're trying to breathe, you're trying not to react, and you're trying to bring order. And so you don't think of yourself as a dictator, you see yourself as a mama bear. Okay? Like, okay, this isn't working. No. I need you to do, hey, I love you, but I need you to do this.
Okay.
I need you to go over. No, this is what we're doing. And you just get big in a mama bear way or in a papa bear way.
Yeah, especially for those parents that have 2-3 kids and soccer and baseball and dance and hectic schedule.
That's what we have to look at too, is do we have too much going on? You know, most of my parents for 20 years have been like Marin County, which, like I said, Marin County is right across the Golden Gate Bridge, Mill Valley, San Rafael, Corte Madera, Larkspur, one of the most rich zip codes in the world, Belvedere and Tiburon, some like people that run huge companies that you know of live there, you know. And it just so happened to be where I lived after grad school and where we started raising our son. But I'm talking so much, I lost my point.
That happens to me all the time.
It happens to us all the time in the show.
Again, I didn't quite have enough. What was I talking about? But these, like, oh, I got it. Thank you. Sometimes I just need a beat. They're overscheduling.
Sometimes we all need a beat. I like that.
Right. Yeah. They think my kid has to be in Mandarin lessons and chess club and tennis and this and that, and it's all about enrichment. I have a book coming out. I don't plug that much. I'm allergic to plugging. But it's like a whole chapter that I talk about it because I see it so much. Because I saw it in Marin County, but I'm hearing it in Miami. I'm hearing it in San Francisco. I'm hearing it in Chicago. I'm hearing it in New England. And, hey, enrichment is good, okay? Teaching our kids things is great, like awesome, but they need downtime. Yeah. They need to play. And if they don't have downtime, guess what they're going to do after dinner? They're going to be bouncing off the walls because they haven't got that energy out. Even if they went to tennis practice, it's not necessarily like a release of energy. My kid was a baseball player. He was an amazing baseball player. But sometimes in baseball, you weren't really moving your body that much. You were sitting there and waiting for the, right? And so when I went to practice baseball with him at the field near our house, the first thing we would do is, you know what the first thing baseball players do? And he'd go, laps. They run laps. I'm like, yes,
I was just going to say that.
Run around the bases. And he'd go run around the bases and he'd get his energy out. And then we'd hit balls into the outfield and he'd go running and diving. And I'd not hit him right to him because I'm trying to get that energy out.
Yeah.
But some kids go to baseball practice and they're sitting in right field and the ball's not coming to them. They didn't get their energy out.
My husband is laughing because he's a soccer player and my family were all about baseball. So he's always saying the same thing. So right now he's just laughing because he says, in baseball, these guys aren't doing anything. They're just sitting there. They're not running.
Yeah, but maybe, husband, you guys should score more. Come on.
Oh, there you go. I know. He gets so excited. Everybody gets dressed, with the Columbia shirts. And then what was the end of the score? 0-0. I'm like, come on.
Yeah, we just
nothing
had Messi
happened.
here recently. He came, Miami came here recently, and it was a big deal. And I grew up with soccer too. In San Jose, where I grew up, the earthquakes are there, and we have a nice stadium. I love soccer. I'm just playing around. But all I'm saying is, I've just, even though it's not what you brought up, it's originally when you're talking about what about when things are melting down. Sometimes they're melting down because you didn't connect first. Sometimes they're melting down because you didn't set limits the right way yesterday, and so they're full of a bunch of frustration that they're trying to get out. Sometimes they're melting down because they haven't got their energy out today. So let's get to the root problem more instead of just the symptoms. You know what I mean? Because if I call it whack-a-mole parenting. You know that game? Like we had pizza time, Chuck E. Cheese when I was growing up, but in arcades they have the thing where a mole pops up.
It comes out and you gotta hit it. Oh, I love that.
I love that too.
And if you're parenting just on symptoms, that's what it feels like, and it's part of what keeps us in a cycle. Is like this kid's not listening today. Okay, what do I do? I'm just gonna go listen to 5 podcasts and 2 books, read 2 books about. Okay, but now this one's popping up. What do I do, right? And that's exhausting. So like one of my main messages is, it's good to have advice for what about when things are melting down. Get big, get kind, but be a strong leader and bring order to the situation. I sometimes say when I'm teaching how to handle incidents of aggression and things, I say act like you're an EMT or a paramedic who's shown up on the scene of an accident, okay? Your job is not to litigate who's right and who's wrong, right? Like I had an accident like 10 years ago. Somebody hit me, really T-boned me. And the EMT showed up and everyone's like, it's his fault, it's her fault, it's they did. And they were driving too fast.
The EMT doesn't care.
The EMT's like, shut up.
Yeah.
I just want to take care.
Are you bleeding? Okay. No. Then you need to be quiet and go. No, I'm not being mean. I love you. Go over. The EMT wouldn't say that.
Yeah.
Right? But it's that energy.
That's a good takeaway.
Yeah.
That's a very good takeaway.
What I have so many questions that I would love to ask you, but I know that you gotta go.
Episode
no, for sure. But were you gonna ask a question now?
No. The last thing that you said actually struck a chord with me because it's true. It's we have to, who's leading. It's not who's right, who's wrong, who's leading the situation. So the EMT thing was very.
You have to lead,
yeah.
And a leader is not. Hey child, what do you want? Is it okay
I'm
if
guilty.
we do this thing? And again, I can be guilty of that because I just wanted so badly not to be a mean parent, that everything I was learning, I once said to my kid, I was just really frustrated. I said, you know what? If you don't stop it, you're grounded. And he just looked at me at 5 years old and he's like, Dad, you say that whenever you're frustrated? I don't know what that means. It's like because I had never grounded him. I never even explained what that was, right? So, but it's not gentle, passive, I'm your best friend and I don't want to hurt, But it's also not, I'm pissed off and do what I say because I say. That's not how we're supposed to lead, We're supposed to be a mother goose. Like, what does a mother goose do? And I use this example all the time. It's like a mother goose doesn't get behind the goslings and go, hey, it would be really great if we kind of went that way. And she doesn't push them or whatever. What does she do? She just kind of goes, okay, we're going. And she just starts going, right? And what do the goslings do?
Follow.
They just go. Now, I know some people out there are going, that's really nice. That's really simple. But it's kind of true, too. People want a leader. And my message is just be that leader. And all I try to do is help parents be that leader.
What about...
I have to take this.
What happened?
School.
Oh, a mommy thing.
Oh, hey, that's real. And I'm going to do a similar thing, and I'm going to open the door for my cat. The leader in our house sometimes is the cat.
No, they just call her that. The baby's sick, so she has to go get him in school.
Oh, no problem.
I have so many questions, but we're just going to start wrapping it up, but we definitely have to do it again. Yay, likewise.
I love what you guys do, so just definitely have me back sometime.
This is fun. This is fun.
Odd. I apologize. It just,
it's okay. I
fever.
understand.
I gotta go pick up my son.
I had a lot of years of phone calls sometimes. I totally understand. Life happens, but it was really nice to meet you.
You too. And you know what the funny part is? I told Darlene today, I said I had this gut
She
instinct,
just told me this
mom
morning.
instinct. I feel like Jacob may come down with something. And they just called me 103 fever. I got to go
Moms
get him.
always know.
So if you could give parents one piece of advice, what would it be? What would be a good
Oh, wow.
takeaway?
That's always the toughest question. Out of everything we talked about, see yourself as the leader in a positive way for your child. Do everything you can to not try to be perfect, but to be a leader, and always put attachment first. Meaning, never assume your child feels connected to you. Never walk into a room and just assume what I call the green light. Like I'm looking at you on my MacBook Pro, and there's a little green light that says the camera's working, right? There's a little green light on the side of my computer saying it's plugged in. Don't assume the green light is on with your spouse, with your husband, with your wife, with your child. Get it on. Get in their face in a friendly way, smile, get their eyes, and just get that sense of, here we are, I found you, right? Mm-hmm. Not just as an exercise, but just get in your loved one's face, get in your child's face in a friendly way, get that look of just, here we are, and then you lead from there. That's the number one piece of practical advice I'd give people. It sounds so simple, but it's so important. And everywhere around the world, if you don't do that in cultures outside of America, still in America too, but everywhere in the world, I bet in Colombia, in Mexico, where we just were, and we're getting married next year, in France, if you walk into a store and you just say, give me this, they will kick you out. Get the eyes, get the smile, get the nod, get into relationship. Don't take it for granted. Mm-hmm. That's the number one thing you can do every day. And if you really build that out as a culture, you're going to see changes just from that. I absolutely promise you.
Thank you so
beautiful.
much. I feel that we definitely have
great
to
having
have
you.
you back on the show, because I have so many more questions for you, and it's been so interesting.
Anytime. I would love to come back and talk to your audience. I love, like I said, what you guys are doing.
Your book. When is your book coming out?
It's coming out November 18th, 2025.
Okay.
Depending on when you're listening to this. You can see the mock-up. You'll be the first people I showed it to. This is not real, but it's called The Calm and Connected Parent.
Oh,
awesome. And the subtitle is an attachment first guide to raising resilient kids in the age of screens and AI.
Oh my gosh.
We need that.
I had going in my head for 5 or 6 or 10 years. And then finally, a lot of the things that I'm hearing from parents and that they're concerned about, and things that are making things even harder with technology right now, just made me sit down and finish it. So I'm really proud of it. And I'm very self-conscious about promoting things, but there it is.
No, of course, but
it's
it's great title. I'm sure that it's a lot of information that we need. And we will definitely have you back so we can talk about that, because you just open a whole different set of questions that I can ask.
Just let us know and we'll set it up. And
where can
I know you got to go, Monica.
I'm leaving. Yes. I give kisses from there. I'm leaving.
See you later.
Where can people find you?
The best way is just transformativeparenting.com.
And you have a 90-day challenge there as well.
Oh, we have a process, but we don't just work with people with the kind of the one-on-one relationships, because that's expensive. It's time consuming. You really have to take time. It takes a lot of my time. But we have a YouTube channel that has great information. I put out a weekly newsletter if you sign up, that every single week I'm putting out an article that I think is actually useful and actually gives you practical takeaways, and it's not usually promoting anything. I have a LinkedIn. My Instagram is small but growing. We have a Facebook group. So yeah.
Okay, so we'll put all the information so people can reach you.
transformativeparenting.com and whatever you're looking for there. And if people are interested in working with us, there's a class on there, a 20-minute master class that kind of introduces the work, because we don't have room for everybody. We try to let people know what it is. But we have lots of good information out there, and we try to serve wherever you are and whatever your situation is.
Oh, great. Okay, so that's transformativeparenting.com, correct?
Yep.
Great. Thank you so much. This was Mama's Playground.